Hello and welcome to the 35th broadcast of the Nerdflix podcast. Today we are continuing our holiday special with Home Alone. This really is a holiday classic, and today we will be talking about Home Alone and its sequel, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So let's get started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
Welcome to the Nerdflix podcast.
Home Alone is, of course, a holiday classic and probably one of my favorite holiday movies. I mean, some of my favorites are Home Alone, Home Alone 2, of course, Elf. Elf is always a classic. There's Nightmare Before Christmas, but some debate whether or not that's a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie. Actually, I have not watched that yet this year. I should. I also like Gremlins, but again, is that really a Christmas movie? Gremlins does take place around Christmas. I do watch it for Christmas, but it isn't technically a Christmassy movie. But yeah, there are some good ones out there, but Home Alone definitely is one of the top Christmas movies. And of course, Home Alone is about a child, Kevin McAllister, who is accidentally left alone for the holidays in his very large house, and some burglars are attempting a robbery of that very large house, and he outsmarts them with his clever traps, and a lot of funny stuff happens. Just on opening weekend alone, this movie made $17,081,997 just on opening weekend, and it showed in 1,202 theaters in total, and was the #1 movie for 12 weeks straight, and remained in the top 10 until June of the following year. So talk about a popular movie. You can actually go and visit the house where they filmed the house in Home Alone. It is in Winnetka, Illinois. I'm not exactly sure how to say that, but it's in Illinois. And, yeah, so it's near Chicago, and the entire movie was actually filmed around Chicago. So you can actually go see the house where they filmed Home Alone. Contrary to popular belief, the black and white film showed in the movie that Kevin uses to outsmart burglars and pizza delivery people is not a real movie. Though many people believe this is a real old movie, it does not exist. Macaulay Culkin's double in this movie was actually a grown adult playing this, 8-year-old child. So they definitely did a good job covering that, because I haven't noticed that. But the next time I watch the movie, of course, I will look closely to see if I can tell that his double is, of course, a grown adult and not an 8-year-old kid. Of course, the main plot of the movie is the burglars trying to rob Kevin's house, but there is a side plot, and probably the more sentimental part of the movie is about the old man who lives next door to Kevin, who is believed to be a murderer, and is actually just a lonely old man. But this was not in the original script, but the production company insisted they had more of a sentimental appeal in the movie, so they added this old man into the movie. And yeah, but originally he was not going to be in it, and it was just going to be the robbery. At one point, one of the burglars, Marv, gets a tarantula on his face, and they actually used a real tarantula to do that. But the scream that he lets out in the movie was not in the original take, because if he would have screamed like that, it would have frightened the spider, so the scream was added in digitally later. But the spider was real and was on the actor's face. I'm sure if you're a fan of Home Alone, or even have just seen it once or twice, you know that the robbers, what they withstand with those traps, is not very realistic. And in 2012, a doctor actually analyzed the injuries that the two burglars, Harry and Marv, received from all of Kevin's traps. And of course, they should be dead. None of these things, they wouldn't have been able to survive all of that. They should be dead, but somehow these burglars are not. And there is a full list, if you want to look it up, of all of the things they were diagnosed with after each trap. I won't list them all, but I will just say they should be dead, and the list does exist in case you are interested. And now it is time for another segment of product review. I think the only thing I own for Home Alone is the 2 DVDs of the first and the second one. Yeah, I don't think I own anything else. But let's see what is out there. We will first go to Amazon with a general search of Home Alone merchandise. And there are some pretty good things to get for a Home Alone fan, or to get for yourself if you are a Home Alone fan. So, of course, like always, t-shirts, posters. There's a face mask of Kevin doing his signature thing where he screams to put his hands to his cheeks, but it looks a little odd because it's a face mask of the bottom half of an 8-year-old's face with random hands. There is a blanket with the plan that Kevin draws out for the traps. That actually does look pretty cool. $35. I love how in the movie he signs his name on the drawing. It says by Kevin McAllister. A t-shirt for the Wet Bandits, a wanted poster. Ooh, this is cool. A t-shirt for Little Nero's Pizza, which is the fake pizza company in Home Alone. A Lego set of the Home Alone house, which is $398. Let's take a little closer look at that. So it comes with the house. Wow, the house opens up. Comes with Marv, Harry, Kevin, a couple other people. Comes with the vans to take them to the airport. But the house opens up to these hugely detailed rooms inside. This is very cool. I can see the cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan. So yeah, that is pretty cool. But now we're going to go over to the Funko app to see. There are not many Home Alone Funko products out there. There are some pretty neat ones. Looks like we got 6 Home Alone Pops in total. So of course we have Harry and Marv. Harry worth $9. Has his hat burned off when he gets hit by the blowtorch or whatever. Marv is worth $13. He has a crowbar and the iron mark on his face. These were both released in 2017. And then regular Kevin with the BB gun and iron, also 2017, is worth $42. I do not have that one. I do know somebody who has that one. I wonder if he knows that's worth $42, because that is a decent amount for a pop. And then Kevin McAllister from the second one with his hat was released in 2018. It was a Target exclusive and is only worth $26. You can also get a 2-pack of Harry and Marv, the exact same pops, but in a 2-pack and exclusive, the Best Buy, worth $31, also 2017. And lastly, you can get Kevin in the second movie outfit. That comes with Kevin and also the exact same hat that Kevin wears in that movie. Released 2018 and exclusive to Target. So that is what's out there for Home Alone. Not much, but some pretty cool stuff. Next, we will talk about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. These are the only 2 we'll talk about today. Yes, there are other sequels. I can't even remember how many there are at this point. It's just ridiculous. There was a third one. The third one was not bad. I mean, it definitely was nowhere near as good as the first 2, but it wasn't too shabby. It's still kind of bad, though. The fourth one was very bad. And then after that, I think they might have made another one. I don't even remember, but I know they made one that just released on Disney Plus recently. That one is decent, actually. I like how they don't try to remake it. It is more of a sequel. It has tie-ins to the original movies. It's good if you're looking for a funny movie. I don't think it's that great of a Home Alone movie, and it definitely does not top the originals, but it is a very funny movie, I'll give it that. But we'll talk about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. This one, of course, just in the title, he gets lost in New York as opposed to being left home alone. And he has to fend for himself in New York, where the burglars from the original area Marv have also escaped jail and ended up there. What are the chances, right? And so he has to once again set traps for them that they shouldn't survive, but of course they do. Macaulay Culkin was paid $4,500,000 to return for this sequel. That is a lot of money for such a small kid. It was so cold filming on location in New York that some of the cameras froze up and they were unable to use them. They just couldn't film with them because they were frozen. That's how cold it was. In fact, this is the only Home Alone movie to feature real snow. In the past movies, they had used fake snow whenever they wanted snow in the shot, but there in New York, it happened to be snowing, and so it actually featured snow in the movie as opposed to the fake snow that they used in the first movie. Similar to the first movie, there is another suspicious character that turns out to be a very nice person. This is the pigeon lady that Kevin meets, who feeds the pigeons in the park. And this woman was actually inspired by Mary Poppins, who, of course, sings about feeding the birds. I don't know, it's been a while since I've watched Mary Poppins. But yes, so the pigeon lady was inspired by Mary Poppins. At the end of the movie, the pigeon lady throws birdseed all over Harry and Marv, and they are attacked by thousands of pigeons. And when they were filming this scene, the actor who played Harry got a pigeon in the mouth. There was a pigeon who accidentally flew into his mouth, and he says it was disgusting. So he actually had a live pigeon flying around in his mouth. That must have been disgusting. The hotel featured in Home Alone is, of course, a real hotel, and they offer a thing called Live Like Kevin, where you go there and you get an all-you-can-eat ice cream sundae buffet and watch Home Alone movies. So that sounds great, honestly. I mean, I'd love to eat all sorts of ice cream and watch Home Alone. So yeah, you can go there and live like Kevin for a day. Similar to how the old movie in the first movie was thought to be real, it was also believed that Duncan's Toy Chest, the toy store in the second movie, was also real. But I'm here to tell you that that is also not real. There is a list of all the things that Kevin got from room service when he was staying in the hotel. You can look it up on the internet while you're looking up what injuries Harry and Marv got. But I'm not going to read it off, but I'll tell you the total, which was $967, basically worth of ice cream. So that is just crazy. And like I said, you can look up the entire list of everything he bought online. But in total, it is $967. They wanted to film 2 sequels at once because they knew that Macaulay Culkin was growing up fast and they would not be able to shoot a third one unless they did it at the same time as the second because he'd be too old. But the studio shut this down because it would be too expensive to film them both at once, so they ended up bringing in that new actor for the third one, which we've already talked about. But originally they wanted to do 2 at once and continue to have Kevin into the third movie. This week's segment of Forgotten Facts comes to us from all the way back to Nerdflix number 1. That is, of course, Spider-Man. In Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker is on the roof trying to get his Spider-Man powers back, and he says he needs to have a strong focus on what he wants. Well, he fails to get his Spider-Man powers back, and he falls off the roof and lands on a car. Well, the car he lands on is a Ford Focus, and the car did not dent, so it was a strong focus. And speaking of Spider-Man, Spider-Man No Way Home is officially out. This movie has been released, and I can't wait to go see it. Okay, that is it for this episode of the Nerdflix podcast. Join us next time, and until then, happy holidays, and I will see you next time on Nerdflix.